Okay, a brief video. Let's see if I'm organized here for this. Yes, I am. So, last week or so, I've been doing a few videos. This will now be the third on the jet stream, the northern jet stream, and the bad, sorry shape it's in, and how worried I am of this. I've been focusing, what I've been saying, mostly on the United States because that's where I get my weather reports, but there have been headlines about Arctic air freezing large parts of Europe and the UK. So I said if I saw any signals that might pertain to Europe and the UK, I would come on here and do this. So here I am. I am doing this. If you live in the US, this should sound familiar to the reports I've been doing recently. If you live in the UK and the Europe, you're seeing this on the ground. And so what I've been saying about the lower 48 US states and how the jet stream has really been messing things up there, well, it applies to the rest of the world too. And it probably applies in Russia, and it probably applies in China, and out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But we don't get to hear from these places. We don't get to hear from Russia. Their state media won't report these things. We don't get to hear from China. We don't get to hear from what's happening in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, even though it's like half of the planet's surface. We don't get to hear what's happening out there because no one's going to tell you. So we only really get news and information from Europe, the UK, and the US. And as regards the US, less all the time because the Trump administration is constantly shutting down the weather services, including things like the Storm Prediction Center. The National Center for Atmospheric Research has been completely shut down. Okay, so we're running out of opportunities. However, we do still have satellite data, and we still can look at this. And so let's just do that. So this is something I've been showing recently. So I will focus on the North Pole right now. This is now focused on the North Pole. You'll see there's 2, maybe 3 polar vortexes. Again, this is caused by sudden stratospheric warming, which we don't know a whole lot about, but I can tell you right now without even doing the research that it has something to do with global heating. So there you go. So when the North Polar Vortex looks like this, it's malformed. It's not even focused on the top of the world anymore. Let me draw a dot to show you where this is. Where is it? I think it's right here, actually. This is the North Pole. Okay? So it's not even where it's supposed to be, whatever you want to think of that. Yeah, this is the North Pole. It's not even where it's supposed to be, and it is split in half, and a lot of the energy is actually going into this second gyre, the one at the top. And then I'm going to draw this, and then I'm going to have to move the globe. I want you to see that this main gyre, and these pink and white lines, this is wind speed, okay? This main gyre is dipping down. Well, here's the UK. All right, here's Scandinavia. Here's Spain, okay? So yes, it's way south, folks. It's way south. And it is impinging upon the UK and Europe. And guess what? They are not having a good time down there. It's been going on for a couple of days now. They've got massive blackouts in Germany, or they did. I don't know if they fixed them yet or not. People are having a hell of a time. So here's what's actually happening. This is the jet stream now. If you've been watching my videos up to this point, you've seen this many times. Of course, it changes all the time, but it never gets fixed. It's always like this. It's just broken to pieces, and the pieces hardly even articulated anymore. And where it tries to form any kind of a continuous pattern, it's got all these loops and dupes and things like this. And there's one coming down right here, right there, right into Spain, and then it goes up this way, and then it splits and it goes up this way. And this is bad. This is really bad. All this stuff coming in over here like this, and then it loops back around, and then this one is split. It comes around here. And there's all these little eddies and currents. This thing is just messed up. And way down here, this is the UK. Here's Ireland. This is Spain. This is the rest of Europe, right in here, okay? And you can see what's happening. This is massively cold air. There's a huge cold air mass right here. That's cold. That came down from the North Pole. That, if the jet stream was properly formed, then it would be way up here around the North Pole like this. It'd be way up here. And it would be holding back the cold air. So you get cold air in Greenland, you get cold air in Scandinavian countries, you get cold air in the far north of Russia, maybe parts of China, but you wouldn't get these cold air masses dropping down. But look what's happened. It's not doing that. It's doing this. It's down here like this, and all these loop-de-doops, and all these cutoff lows, and all these cold core cyclones, and all this stuff is going on. This is not weather. They're going to tell you, well, yeah, it's winter. Surprise, surprise, it's cold. Yes, this looks like winter from where you are. You see snow, you see ice, you see record cold, you see the power grid going down, you see cars skidding off the road into a ditch. You see all these things. You think winter, winter, winter. This is not winter. This is a breakdown of the Earth dynamic system. This is supposed to be the polar vortex creating a round jet stream. Somewhere around the top of the North Pole, there should be a round jet stream that's holding back the cold air, and it's gone. It's not doing that anymore. We just have this broken up vestige remains of the northern jet stream. And it managed, of course, as we're seeing in the news, if you stick your head out, it's managing to drop way down in here like this. People are going to say, it's weather. Oh, it's winter. It's always cold. I don't know what to tell you. Yes, your meteorologist, your government alert systems are going to tell you, yes, cold weather. It's going to get cold. It's going to be really cold. And they're not going to give you the context that I'm giving you here. This is not weather. This is atmospheric physics. And the physics of this planet are broken. Still. It's been like this for a long time. And I don't think it's ever going back. I don't know what's going to happen to us, folks. This is just early days. This is just how it starts. What's this going to look like in the summer? What is it going to do to us in the summer? Oh, I'll be looking forward to some cold air in the summer. You'll be lucky if that's what you got. If all you got in the summer was some cold air. You could get record high temperatures coming in from Africa. Remember, this was also supposed to be regulating the weather. If this thing is broken completely apart like this, it's not regulating shit, all right? It's not regulating anything. It has no authority over what happens anymore with the weather. And the ultimate destination of all this, once again, is hothouse Earth. This is one of the phases. This is one of the necessary stages that we have to go through on our way to hothouse Earth, which is a collapse of the jet stream. When the jet stream breaks down, then there's nothing to stop the hot air from moving north all the way to the North Pole. And hothouse Earth, by definition, is going to be when the planet is the same temperature from the North Pole through the equator to the South Pole. That there's no barriers to stop the world becoming the same temperature all the way around, top to bottom. That's hothouse Earth. Once that starts, then we're done. I guess we're done. Nothing's going to be the same. I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody dies. It doesn't mean that every major city on the earth becomes a ghost town or a zombie apocalypse or something like that. But everything that we think is amazing and eternal and sacred is done. Your growing zones are going to move. Your habitability zones are going to move. Places that simply get hot in the summer are going to be 20, 25 degrees Fahrenheit hotter, 10 degrees C hotter for weeks, months at a time. That's hothouse Earth. If you've ever been to the equator, you'll have at least a taste of this. In the equator, it's hot all the time, and they don't have seasons. They don't have a cold season. They have maybe a wet season and a dry season, a monsoon season. That's about it. That's their weather, if you want to talk about it that way. They don't have any weather. Well, imagine that now extends all the way to the North Pole. You just don't have weather. You have phenomena, like it just gets hot and it stays hot. And there's no way for it to cool down. There is no cold air button you can just punch and all of a sudden you have cold air. This isn't regulated like with a thermostat. The cold air has to come from the ice. It has to come from the North Pole. And if the pole is the same temperature as the equator, because hothouse Earth, then where's your cold air supposed to come from? There is no heat pump. There are simply places for hot air to go to disappear. And without a cold place somewhere on the Earth, then the heat doesn't dissipate. No, slowly it dissipates into space at the top of the atmosphere. But right now we have a cold place, a remnant of the Ice Age. The Ice Age was 5 million years long, folks. Well, it's over now. They've actually called it. Most of your glaciologists will tell you we're in a termination event. The Ice Age has hit a termination event. Us. We-ins. We did it. We are the termination event. So, there you go. It's hit Europe, and it's not going away. Things will change. As the Earth is on the move, things will certainly change, but change how? Wow. All I can be is worried. All I can be is nervous. And everybody else is going to be expecting the spring to come in the summer, and it'll all be weather, and the weather will do its usual thing. It's like, yeah, you think so? That'd be nice, but I don't have that expectation at all anymore. It's not weather, people. It's a breakdown. The Earth dynamic system is on the move, and you don't know where it's going, and I don't know, and if I had an idea, I would tell you, except all I can guess is what's ultimately inevitable. Just because of physics, what's ultimately inevitable, whether it takes a year or 10 years or 20, what's ultimately inevitable, and what we can start planning for now, because it's inevitable, because of physics, is hothouse Earth. There you go. You're going to have to adapt. We're all going to have to adapt. What does that mean? Well, where do you live? What options do you have? You could migrate. You could become migratory. Well, if you live in Europe, that means you're migrating north into Scandinavia. Do they really want you up there? Do the Germans really want the Spanish and the Italians and the French to move in? Probably not. Just a guess. And do the Canadians want the Americans to move in? No. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really difficult. You think you're just going to tough this out, and good luck. I don't know where this is going, except it's going to get hot, because that's the only thing that can happen now. Runaway greenhouse effect. We get hothouse Earth, and all it does is get hot. We're going through a phase right now where we can still have these phenomena, these cold air masses coming down from the north, but the cold air masses are disappearing because they're coming down from the north. And once they're gone, because they didn't stay in the north, once they come down from the north and impact us down here in the temperate regions, and once they're not up there anymore, well, then the situation changes, doesn't it? Because all of this is a vestige of the Ice Age. And the Ice Age is over. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, I guess we're going to find out. So that's what I got today. Again, this is just a follow-up. I said if I got information about what was happening in Europe, I would share that in the context of everything else I share. So there you go. Again, this application, this is earth.nullschool.net, I think. I have to go find it. Hold on. Where is my Earth Null School? It's right here. I can read the URL. earth.nullschool.net. Yes. And you can check this out. I have it on Wind. I want the... Anyway, you can figure it out. You can play around with this stuff. And let's see, how does this work? Animate the wind. Overlay is wind. And then I'm at 500 hectopascals. And you can go all the way to 10 if you want, which is the top of the atmosphere. This is the top of the atmosphere here. That's the polar vortex, which is what's driving the jet stream. And then if you go to 500, then you have what should be the jet stream, which is really just a mess. It's gone. And then the closer you get to the surface, you start to see whatever the local winds are. And the local winds are certainly something to keep track of, but for our purposes, that's not nearly as important as this, because that's what's driving these air masses. So I just wanted to let you know how I get this information. Anybody can get this information. You can get it. You can come in here and play around with earth.nullschool.net if you want to. Or you can wait for me to do it, and then we'll have a real discussion. Anyway, that's what I got. Get ready. Get ready, people. It's on now. Don't die.